So we've got our March reading wrap up. We've also got a little coffee. I do just get a little bit anxious and I stumble on my words sometimes, so I just wanted to create a little bit of a relaxed environment. So I made myself hot chocolate because God knows we have like 3 coffees today. March was really good to me, you guys. We tabbed the heck out of these books and we've read 9 months, so let's go through every single one of these. I'm gonna try and go through everything in the order that I've read them, just because I feel like it gives you a little bit more insight as to why I went in that order. Okay, so the first book we've read in March was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Obviously, this book has been around for ages, and if you know me, I really like to go into books knowing absolutely nothing about these books. Like, I don't even read the back of it. Like, I just go for what's popular out there, which is I know it's not really the best way to buy books, but I like to be surprised, okay? I will go for a certain genre, but I don't want to know anything about these books. Like, this was a really good book. Story starts, I think it was like set in the 20s or 30s, like old Hollywood. It follows the story of Evelyn Hugo and her, obviously, 7 marriages. The book is sectioned in 7 sections, basically, and each section talks about her story with one of her husband, and it is just such an incredible story. It was so heartfelt. I did tear up a little bit. It didn't make me cry, but I did tear up a little bit. It did leave an impact. It does give you like an in-depth kind of insight about Hollywood lifestyle and what these celebrities go through, celebrity lifestyle and whatnot. But I just feel like books that are based around fame are not really for me. I didn't really enjoy it as much because I had other books, which I'll talk about next, that I was so excited to read. So I feel like I kind of rushed this one. Okay, so the next book I read in March was Caraval. So I'm one of those people who only read Caraval so that they could read Once Upon a Broken Heart. I was just so excited to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, and someone commented in one of my TikToks saying that I should read the Caraval series, and they actually read the entire Caraval series before Once Upon a Broken Heart. And you guys, I was so excited to read Once Upon a Broken Heart. I wanted to have the full experience, and that's why I decided to invest time and read the entire Caraval series. Did I enjoy this series? To be honest with you guys, I don't think I would have ever picked up this series if it wasn't for Once Upon a Broken Heart. And it's very much one of those like magical, whimsical kind of fantasy books. They're based around these games that take place every couple years, I think. And if you win this game, you get to fulfill one wish. I honestly think if this ever got made into a movie, it would make the best scenery. I feel like Stephanie did an amazing job describing or creating the world of Caraval. So interesting and unique. However, I did feel like it was a little too YA for me. Another thing, I felt like the chapters were a little bit choppy in the entire Caraval series. Like, the chapters would just end somewhere and just start somewhere completely different. It was good, it just wasn't for me. Next, I read Legendary in the Caraval series. I mean, I did enjoy this book, but the only thing I didn't like about it was the fact that I was able to predict the ending, and that just ruined the entire purpose of this book. Then I felt like I needed to take a break from Caraval, and this is when I know I didn't really enjoy a particular series, is when I feel like I need to stop and read something else. So I did that, and I read one of my favorite reads in March was Twisted Games. I don't know why, but I had a feeling I was gonna love this book. This book, you guys, was so incredible. If you have time, you can go watch my reaction at the end of each video for March. Oh my god, you guys. This book sparked an interest in bodyguard romances, okay? I need more bodyguard romances in my life. This was so incredible. And I don't know why, but I feel like this is gonna be my favorite book out of the Twisted series. I've only read Twisted Love and Twisted Games, but I still have 2 more to go. There's just something about a broody, possessive, like bodyguard and princess. You guys just have to go and read it. Like, look at the number, the amount of tabs I have going on. It was incredible, okay? If you guys know any good like bodyguard romances, please comment them down below. I beg you, I need more like this. Back to my Caraval series, okay? And I finished Finale. I feel like Finale was a really good wrap up for the series. The ending was debatable. Next, I read one of my most anticipated series of 2025. March was gonna be the month I finally dive into it. And you guys, I'm so glad I read Caraval before this, because if you haven't, the beginning of Once Upon a Broken Heart is gonna be very confusing for you, and you're gonna miss a lot of Easter eggs. So I highly recommend that you read the entire Caraval series. I did have to push through it, but it was so worth it. Now, going into this, I didn't know that Once Upon a Broken Heart was a spin-off of Caraval. I like to go into books knowing nothing, and I like to be surprised. I was so happy, you guys, to see Jack back in the series. Obviously, this entire series is about him. I just didn't like the way things ended so abruptly with him. In Caraval, I felt like he didn't get the ending that he deserved. He was just, I don't know, he was evil, but he was such an incredible evil, you guys. Let me just tell you, I know how much I'm enjoying the book by how much I smile when I'm reading this, and I smiled a lot, like a lot. Just look at the amount of tabs I have going on. Everything was important, okay? Everything Jack said was important. There was just something about a soft, romantic, hopeful MMC and the wicked, kind of charming but gray MMC. They just created the perfect chemistry. This is still very much a YA series, but the mystery in the series, the mystery of Jack, drove me insane. Okay, I could not stop reading. I needed answers. I just flew throughout this entire series because I needed answers. The mystery was killing me. If I had to compare this to Caraval, I feel like Stephanie Garber, the way she writes, it is so much better in this series in compared to Caraval. This was so much easier to follow, the chapters, everything was just so much easier to understand. Now, one thing I liked about The Ballad of Never After is that at the beginning of the book, she does bring in important details from the first book so that it's so much easier. Even if you took a break between books, which I can't imagine why you'd do that, but even if you did, starting to read the second book, she does drop important hints and information throughout the beginning of the book, and she just makes it so much easier to remember. My favorite book in the series has got to be The Ballad of Never After. The second book, the plot was insane, okay? The mystery of Jack continues in the series. The chemistry was just off the chart, okay? This series is definitely a little bit darker than Caraval. However, I loved it, okay? I ate it up. Stephanie just created the most intimate scenes with so much tension. It was just incredible. The Ballad of Never After will just forever have my heart. We've got The Curse of True Love, which is written in sort of like 3 POVs, Evangeline's, Jack's, and also Apollo. Now, let me just tell you that Jack's POV only starts 100 pages into this book. It was so hard to go through. I literally had to flip over and just make sure we're still having Jack's, because there was no way I was gonna finish the series if Jack somehow disappeared, okay? Like, oh my god, Apollo, I don't care about you, okay? Your chapters were so boring. I'm sorry. The only thing I find a little bit annoying about the last book, which was the memory loss. I'm not gonna specify, but that part dragged on a little bit too much and it was frustrating. Those pages were frustrating to read. This book kept me on my toes until the very last page. I just love this series with my all, and I know it's gonna have a very special place in my heart. This series cured my Onyx Storm hangover, which I, to be honest, didn't think was possible. This is very different from Onyx Storm, okay? Don't confuse. It's very different. This is different, and you can just tell by how much I tap this. Like, this is insane, okay? I literally tapped every other page. The last book I read in March was The Sweetest Oblivion. This is the first book in the Maid series. This is definitely a dark mafia romance. This book definitely didn't really meet my expectations. I was expecting a little bit more plot, a little bit more of a crazy plot. I was expecting a little bit more of an adventure. We didn't get that. Yeah, no. The first 100 pages or so, I felt like very little was happening. One of the misleading things I would say about this book was that it literally says she's a romantic at heart, living in the most unromantic of worlds. And so I thought we were gonna get more of a soft FMC. She's also nicknamed the Sweet Belly. So I had already created this entire image in my mind of an innocent FMC living in this like mafia world, and that's not what I got. She had all these like snappy like comebacks and remarks. Her actions, her words, like nothing about her was soft in my opinion. I've heard a lot about the next book, which is The Maddest Obsession. I'm not so sure if I'm gonna continue reading the series, to be honest. This was a pretty expensive book. It's a very nice cover and very nice paper. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.